Hi friends! Welcome to my second video on the Paris 2024 Olympian Artist Program. This video will be focused on Hélène de Pourtalès, who was the first female Olympic champion in history. I will also outline certain aspects of my artistic process for the portraits, and this video will be heavily focused on the portrait part itself. The first part of my process is super messy. I was prepping the background of each canvas with acrylic paint and just kind of having fun with it. The beginnings of the portrait were super ugly, as you can see, but it is so fun to look back now and see how far the portraits came and the final product of what I created. At the time, I was pretty stressed about how these portraits were going to turn out. I didn't think that the vision in my head was actually going to show up properly on canvas. This was a serious test of trust the process. Let's get talking about the first female Olympic champion. Hélène de Pourtalès, formerly Helene Barbie, was born in New York in 1868 to Isaac and Mary Barbie. Helene's parents took their family to Switzerland during the summer months, and they eventually moved there full-time. This is where Helen fell in love with sailing and horseback riding. Now, although Helene was born in the States, she did have dual citizenship, which allowed her to compete for Switzerland. So her family was very successful and became very wealthy, which led them to the upper class society in Switzerland. So they became close with members of the aristocracy. And this included Baroness Julie von Rothschild, who was an avid sailor herself. So Hélène actually grew up following in the footsteps of the Baroness. In 1891, Hélène married Swiss sailor Hermann Alexander, Count von Pourtalès. After marrying, the two participated in many regattas together. In 1894, it was announced that the second Olympiad would take place from May 14th to October 28th, 1900 in Paris. And this was part of the World Exposition that was also being held at the time in Paris. It was also announced that for the first time, women would be allowed to compete at the Paris Games. However, Pierre de Coubertin, who was the co-founder of the International Olympic Committee, did not approve of women participating in the Olympics. He wrote, "As to the admission of women to the Games, I remain strongly against it. It was against my will that they were admitted to a growing number of competitions." Obviously, I do think it is important to recognize the historical time frame of Pierre de Coubertin's beliefs. At the time of the Paris 1900 Olympics, New Zealand was the only country that allowed women to vote in national elections. But I think this just magnifies the incredible feat that these Olympic women achieved at the time. Despite this severe backlash, 22 women still participated in the Olympics. However, it was only allowed in ladylike sports. So this included golf, tennis, sailing, croquet, and equestrianism. It was pretty funny because for the poster of the Paris 1900 Games, it shows a female fencer. However, women were not allowed to compete in fencing in 1900. Hélène was determined to represent Switzerland at the Olympics, so her and her husband registered for the Olympics with their sailboat Lerina. On Tuesday, May 22nd, 1900, Hélène, her husband, and their nephew sailed in the first of two 1 to 2 ton regattas at the Olympics. They crossed in a time of 2 hours, 15 minutes, and 32 seconds. Helene was crowned Olympic champion as skipper, and in the second regatta, Helene and her crew sailed to second place and were awarded a silver medal. So not only is Helene the first female Olympic champion, but she was also the first female multiple medalist in history. In my artistic process, I wanted to depict these women as the fierce, confident, trailblazing women that they are. Helene has the headline, "The First One," because, of course, she was truly the very first champion. Now, to complete my project, I also wrote a fictional yet historically accurate article on each woman. These women never really made headlines at the time of their accomplishment, and they never really received the press that they deserved. Those written articles are also on display with my art in Paris. So there you have it. That is my very first Olympian artist portrait of Hélène de Pourtalès. I hope you learned something. I hope you remember her name, and I will see you next time.